seems to work things out. Sorry, just press recording. So yeah, do leave and rejoin, or in the chat box you can select Sophia from the drop down and ask her for some support, and she's waving at the moment, so she'll be able to help you as well. And then there are also the options for subtitles, so I'll talk through how you can get those on the next screen. We're going to record the session today. It will be on the intranet if you've missed it, or if you want to revisit the content and share the content with your group members as well. So on the screen, you can see red arrows and they point to the key functions on Zoom. So on the bottom left, you have your mute icon, so where you can talk or mute your sound. You also have the chat box, which is in the middle of the screen. If you click that icon, the chat box should pop out for you. And there you can let us know who's joining today, write your name of your group, hit return. You can connect with each other as well. You can send a private message to others and connect. And we ask that you don't share your personal information to everybody, though, if you're sharing contact numbers and things. And then there's also the speaker view at the top. We are going to pin Sally as a spotlight, so she should always feature for you when she's cooking, but you can also change your view to speaker if you want to experiment with that. And then the 3 dots down the bottom, sorry, there isn't an arrow to it, but there's 3 dots that say more. So if you click on that, you'll be able to find the option for putting on subtitles. So hopefully that helps with accessing the Zoom platform. And we want to say a huge thanks to our partner Low Salt, because they have given such support yesterday and today, and with the Season with Sense campaign. And Caroline Klinger from Low Salt is on the call today, so she can answer any questions. She'll be there in the chat and also can talk as well if you have questions for her specifically. So a huge thanks to Low Salt today. So this is our second workshop, as you know, and it's dedicated for all volunteers across the Stroke Group network, of which we have hundreds of groups part of. So we really want to make sure that these national workshops are focused on things that make a real difference to you. And we know that that includes sharing your experiences as leaders, as you are experts, but also sharing other people's expertise. So absolutely delighted that Sally B can join us. It's absolutely fantastic. She is a TV personality, presenter, chef, writer, featuring on ITV, and she's a real motivational speaker in health and well-being, as well as the author of lots of cooking books. She's really passionate about empowering people to live their best lives, whatever challenges they may face. So please do ask questions as we go along, because she's here to speak to you as well as cook. It's also competition time. So before I introduce Sally, just to say, we would love to see photos of what you might cook today. And Caroline from Low Salt has kindly donated quite a few prizes. So there'll be an extra special salt pig on offer worth £45. There'll be Season with Sense apron, spoons, tea towels, all kinds of things. So yes, do please send in your pictures. That would be great. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking and hand over to the wonderful Sally. So yeah, enjoy everybody the next hour. Thank you, Sally.
Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. It's so fabulous to be here. I love doing anything for the Stroke Association. I love doing anything for Low Salt, because this is a small change that we can all make to get super healthy. Now, if you have questions, do throw them up. Okay, someone will feed them to me, because it's really important that we have a little chit chat while we're cooking. So I'm just going to thank Layla, who's on camera for me. So if she's a bit wobbly, it's not my fault, it's Layla's fault. We're going to start. I'm doing 2 dishes for you today. The first one is chicken chili rice, which is so ridiculously easy but gorgeously tasty. And the second one is a lovely treat, poached pears with walnut chocolate sauce. So hopefully some of you are cooking along with me. The first thing I'm doing is, I'm not going to give you measurements, because you'll have all that already and it's up on the website, but I've got my rice and my hot water. So I'm just going to pop this over there. You don't have to follow me. You can stay there and talk amongst yourselves. I've got one cooker over here and one over in front of you. So you need to just cook your rice as per the packet instructions, okay? The recipe calls for long grain. I'm actually using basmati because that only takes 10 minutes to cook. and that was actually all I had in the pantry. That's fine. Right, over here now, let me move my gloves and the pens out of the way. Over here now, I've got a large pan, and I'm just going to put that on a medium-high heat with a slurp of olive oil. Now, olive oil is super healthy for the heart, for the circulatory system, even when it's heated, because olive oil you only heat once. It's not that you overheat it again and again, in which case it will turn into one of those bad fats. It doesn't get the chance to turn into a bad fat because you only heat it the once. Now into here, I've got my chicken breast portion, so there's no fat on this whatsoever, and this is just cut into strips. So let me pop that in there, and that's going to start to sizzle away in a minute. Now I hear something cooking. This is, oh, is that my noise coming through? Or is it my noise coming through? Right, there we go. Let me just get that, turn that up high and get that cooking. Now, can I just talk to you about convenience foods while this gets started? Convenience food, we are all busy people. We all have really busy lives. What I don't want anybody to do, and obviously you lovelies are going to be promoting a healthy lifestyle to all the people that you talk to. The way to get convenience food is by pre-prepared vegetables, so pre-chopped, and this recipe calls for a packet of chopped stir-fry vegetables, or frozen vegetables. Don't buy any pre-prepared meals because that has too much salt in it and sugar and fat. This is a way that you can absolutely take care of your health but still use convenience food. You're really full with onions, sliced peppers, ready prepared garlic, mushrooms, spinach, everything that you can just throw in the pan and cook it. Right, the chicken is down here. And what I'm going to do is add into here, now this recipe calls for 1 red chili chopped, so this is going to have quite a kick to it, okay? But you remove the seeds so that that removes the real heat from the chili. We're going to add that in. Now, when you're cooking for health, you can't rely on salt, on fat, on sugar. You can rely on your low salt, because that's 66% less sodium than regular salt. Don't be fooled by Himalayan pink, this, that, and the other posh salt. It's all salt. This is 66% less sodium, and that's what you need. You can't rely on fats, you can't rely on sugar. You have to rely on natural flavorful ingredients, and that's why I've added the chili into this. The next thing I'm going to add, let me just turn these over a bit, is make it even hotter, a little sprinkle of chili powder. And you only need the tiniest bit, and I'll move that out of the way so I don't by mistake add more. And already I can smell that this is going to be absolutely delicious. Now, whenever you read a recipe, this recipe is a really basic, easy, brilliant recipe. But whenever you read a recipe, you could add anything else into there that you wanted. So just bear with me, keep looking at the chicken, because talking of convenience food, I've got a little bit of sweet roasted garlic puree. This has no other additives, so I'm just going to add a little bit of that in because I just know I love that flavour. If you wanted to add a bit of red onion, you could do that. Anything that you have that you want to add to any of the standard recipes, go for it, as long as it's healthy, natural ingredients. Right, that's all cooking away nicely. I'm just going over to check my rice. Still cooking away, that's good. Just don't want it going over. Now, into here, when I've got them all nicely browning, oh, the smell of this is absolutely gorgeous. while this is browning away, we're now going to add the extra bits and bobs in. So here I've got 1 packet of ready prepared stir-fried vegetables. You're always aiming for a rainbow. You definitely want to eat a rainbow of vegetables. I'm now adding sweet corn. This is just a can of sweet corn. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so delicious. And now this needs to really just cook down. So into there, I'm going to add 1 can of chopped tomatoes. Now, again, if you had any extra, kidney beans, any legumes, any lentils, anything like that, you could add that into it. You can now see why it was important that we flavoured it with the chilli, because that chilli's got to travel through lots and lots of ingredients. Now we give a little shake of low salt, and I'm also going to add some black pepper to this. Now this just needs to bubble away for probably about 10 minutes, by which time the rice will be done. You can pop a lid on it if you want to, but I'm just going to add a little slurp of water just to loosen it through. Keep that turned up quite high and let that cook away. Obviously, you need to check that the chicken is cooked all the way through before you serve it. But that will take on all the delicious flavours. Now, while that's finishing to cook, I'm going to move over and get things ready for the poached pears. Let me just move this over here without dropping it. Fingers crossed. Be on my side, be on my side. Now, poached pears. Oh my goodness. The naughty way of doing this is with red wine, but we're not doing it the naughty way. We're doing it the healthy way. So what I've actually done here is peeled 4 pears. You don't want them too overripe. They need to be able to hold their shape. But you leave the stalk on the top. And then what you need to do is simply slice the bottom off, just so that they sit in a pan nicely, like this. And then these are going to get poached in apple juice and water. And I've already mixed it together there. Now look, if you haven't got apple juice, you could use orange juice. But apple juice will give it a lovely, lovely. Just pour that over. The next thing that isn't on the recipe, I'm terrible. I go rogue all the time. I've got to add something else into this. I've just had this thought. I want to add a little taste of cinnamon, which is over here, because that would be really nice. If you've got a cinnamon stick, a fresh cinnamon stick, you could add that in. Again, this isn't on the recipe, but this is how you make these recipes your own. So I'm just going to sprinkle a tiny bit of cinnamon on there just to give it an extra bit of flavour. Just come over to the chicken. Look, we all know we have to multitask when we're cooking. That's cooking down really nicely now. It's looking fab. Oh my gosh, it's looking and smelling absolutely amazing. And then I'm just going to whiz over the other side. You can follow me if you want, it's okay. And pop these on, because these are going to take about 15 minutes. Check the rice. The rice needs a couple more minutes. So while that's stewing, I'm going to get the sauce ready for the pears. So what you need to do with this is you need some hot water. It's like a bain-marie. So I'm going to put some hot water. I've got those magic taps that gives out the hot water. And then into the jug here, I'm going to place a little bit of the dark chocolate, half of the walnuts, to keep an eye on your chicken if you're cooking along with me. Ask any questions that you have. That's looking really, really nice. Right, let me just check what I've got to add in there. And the juices, remove from the bowl. Oh, I shouldn't have put all the walnuts in yet. That's okay. So I've got the chocolate, and I'm going to add a tiny bit of apple juice, some of the cooking juices, into this as well. Just a tiny bit. Right, now what happens, this sits over here, and I'm going to just start that melting away, because that's going to be the chocolate walnut sauce. There we go. Meanwhile, chicken is doing good. Now this has got quite a kick to it. I'm just going to have a quick look at the chicken and see if it's cooked all the way through. If you want your chicken to cook quicker, then you cut it smaller. If you've got longer, then you can have it in larger pieces. Let's just have a quick look through. Oh look, that's absolutely perfect. That's a thick piece that I've tried, and I can see it's cooked all the way through. So I'm just going to give that another couple of minutes while the rice finishes cooking. Let's check all the chicken. There we go. This I can see is starting to melt already. So it's only just a little bit of sauce that we're making there. It's just starting to melt. You don't need to have the bottom of your glass bowl actually touching the water. It should just be just above the water, and then the heat will melt everything without burning the chocolate. So let's move those out of the way. Look at the rice. Right, rice is looking pretty much done. You can literally give it one more minute. And while I'm giving that one more minute, I'm just going to give you a few hints and tips on your healthy eating. Always try and cook from scratch, because you know what's in it. If you're having a treat, like we're making for the dessert, the poached pears, oh, that chili is getting me. If you're having a treat, make sure you've made it, because then you know what's in it. Don't kid yourself you're being healthy when you're not. So don't have things that say, processed food that says low fat, low sugar, low salt, because that will also be low nutrients because it's been through a process. Fast food can be the healthiest food on the planet. A quick poached egg or a quick omelette with lots of the vegetables popped in and a little sprinkling of low salt. A glass of apple juice, a slice of nutty bread, even better if you've made it because you've not put too much salt in it. Healthy eating and tasty food can be the same thing, as long as you're just thoughtful about it. So please don't get confused between the two. Don't think that healthy eating means being on a diet. It doesn't. Healthy eating means everything that you must eat to give your body what it needs. It's not so much about what you shouldn't eat. If you focus on everything you can eat, oh my gosh, you'll enjoy your food so much more. Right, I think my rice is ready, so I'm just going to go and grab that. Now, what I tend to do with the rice is rinse it through with hot water. So you may want to do this, and it just gets out any remaining starch that's left in there. There are the bags of the microwave rice. You just have to be careful that they don't have added nasties in them, too much salt or too much fat, but there are some which are really good. So if you're in a hurry, that's definitely a nice little treat to go for. Let me just move those out of the way, and let's serve up a little bit of the chicken. So, when you're serving up your food, your rice, your carbohydrate should be about the size of your hand, about the size of your palm. So really, you shouldn't need more than that. Obviously, if you're a great, big, huge, enormous rugby playing guy, you've got a bigger stomach, you've got a bigger hand as well. So that's why that relates to you. So that really is enough for one portion. And now, oh, hang on, let me move the spoon back. You can have as much of this delicious chicken dish as you like, and I would absolutely layer that on. You could add anything else you wanted into this. You could add olives, loads of peppers, broccoli, whatever you fancied. I have to just be honest with you, presentation isn't really my forte, but it's going to taste gorgeous. Now, before you serve that, because it has got a bit of a kick, here I just got some sour cream dip. That will take away some of the heat, and a bit of homemade guacamole, which is just avocado, lime juice. I've got some herbs and some chopped up chili in there as well. And then over the top, I will just pop with a little bit more pepper. And there we have it. That is your chili chicken rice. That's super tasty, super healthy. You can eat a great big portion with loads of vegetables and know that every mouthful is there to heal you and not harm you, because you've been seasoning with sense. Right, I'm going to pop that to one side, and I'm going to get let me move this chicken away so that I can bring the poached pears over that we're cooking.
You're getting some nice comments, Sally, saying it looks very nice. Yum, yum. Looks amazing. So that's lovely. We've had a few questions as well. So
yes,
what is your favourite, most indulgent meal but made healthy?
My favourite, most indulgent meal but made healthy. Oh God, that's such a difficult one because I love all food. What would be mine? Well, I love Mexican, okay? I love a burrito bowl. So similar to this, actually, with the rice, lots of vegetables, some spicy chicken, guacamole. I love guacamole. And you can have a lovely big, so very similar to this, a burrito bowl, what we would call, but I'd add much more spice into it. I'd add much more spice in with the vegetables. So I think that would be my favorite one.
Amazing, thank you. And another question, what are good cupboard staples to cook with? So things that can be a base for a variety of meals that you've always sort of got in, I suppose.
Okay, so the basis of most meals that I make are olive oil, onion and garlic. So always have those. You can buy cheats garlic like I've got here, or I buy the big grapples of garlic like that. When they're cooked together, onion, garlic and olive oil are heated together, they have a thinning action on the blood, a lowering cholesterol action on the blood. So that's a really good basis for all dishes. So, you know, people talk about a Mediterranean diet being healthy. That's what they're talking about, actually, that basis. And then you want to go for a full rainbow of colours. So your vegetables, you need to try and hit every colour going. If you can hit every colour going, then you're doing really well. The other thing I would always have in are legumes, lentils, pulses, because that's really good at bulking a meal out. And actually that's better than the traditional carbohydrates like pasta, etc. Potatoes are really, really good for you if you can have the skin on, and obviously not fry them. But any potatoes that are chopped up and cooked with the skin on, that's a really good staple. You then need your basic herbs and spices. And really, you don't need to go over the top. I would always have some cinnamon and ginger to add into desserts. I'd have my low salt, my black pepper for all savoury dishes, and then just some mixed herbs will do fine. Tin tomatoes. What else do we have lately? Yeah, tin tomatoes or eggs. Always have eggs on standby. You do not absorb the cholesterol. You have to be aware of the fat content in the yolks, but eggs are so high in protein and so good for you. If in doubt, make an omelette. There we go. Does that help?
Thank you, Sally. That's fantastic. Really, really helpful. Getting some lovely comments through. Can I ask you, Mum, one more question while you're cooking?
You can,
yes. Okay? Yeah. Yes. So a lot of our groups obviously have social groups, and we, have tea and coffee and snacks and cakes and things like that. So I guess a question coming through is, what kind of healthy snacks can group volunteers take to group or encourage people to eat at groups?
Right, listen, this is where don't kid yourself you're being healthy when you're not really comes into play. If you're doing a get together with cake and friends, then enjoy a piece of cake with your friends. I always say one piece of cake isn't going to kill you, one salad isn't going to save you. So make sure that your portion sizes are small, that it doesn't happen every day, and that you go out for a big walk afterwards. But I am very much into feeding your soul as well as your body and appreciating what is a snack, what is a treat and what isn't. So if you're doing a get together with cake, have homemade cake and enjoy a small piece, and then balance that with some really healthy meals. You need to make sure your healthy meals are packed with goodness to feed your body everything that it needs. And don't take, in your meals, don't take on any chemicals that you don't need. Low salt isn't chemical based at all. Olive oil isn't. None of what I'm cooking here is based on chemicals. Try and be as natural as possible. Obviously, if you're doing regular get-togethers, snacks, fruit is wonderful. You can make a little chocolate dip like I'm making here. Let me just turn that one down and bring that over. Fruit dipped in a natural dip like this is all good. Let me just come back to this because this is ready. In here, I've melted the chocolate, some of the walnuts, and a bit of the apple juice. And I'm going to add in there, this is a little bit of fat-free yogurt. And this is a really good example of how to make sure you eat naturally. What you should not ever do is buy yogurt that says low fat but has loads of sugar in it. You're much better off. Where's the yogurt I bought? Oh, it's in the fridge now, but I bought Greek fat-free yogurt, completely plain. And if I was just having this on its own, I would add a bit of honey into it, some nuts, some raisins, some blueberries. I would just add something to make it sweet myself so that I know what I'm putting in, rather than relying on a food manufacturer to say, well, this is what sugar we're going to add or what chemical sweetener we're going to add. Can I just show you this? This is the chocolate sauce, look. So I melted the dark chocolate, which was 80%, the recipe says 75% solids. This is 80% solid, so that's 80% cocoa. So it has very little fat and very little sugar in it. I mix it with a little bit of the apple juice and some of the walnuts and then yogurt. So there's nothing bad in that. What I'm trying to explain is you can have a treat, a really lovely treat, and still tick the health boxes. I'm just going to now bring the pears over. Just bear with me, Caller, while I get another spoon. Now, these pears are done beautifully. I mean, I could do them a little bit more, but they're great. So this is how, let's move that one so you can see it. This is how I'm going to serve this. I mean, this is like posh dinner party food, isn't it? Now I'm going to pop over, just drizzle over. This is where I'm not very good at presentation. Drizzle over some of the chocolate sauce, which just looks lovely. And then I've got a few more somewhere, a few more of the chopped walnuts. Of course, you can use pecan nuts or hazelnuts or almonds, whatever you fancy. Just give that a little sprinkle like that. And of course, I have to go rogue and add something else. It's not in the recipe. So I would actually serve that with just a little handful of blueberries. There we go. So that is the poached pear. Now this dish takes me half an hour to cook. It's full of colour, it's full of flavour. Did I remember to put the low salt? That was meant to have a tiny bit of low salt in the sauce just to give it a salted chocolate, you know, that salted chocolate flavour. I can't remember if I remember to do that or not. There is nothing in here to harm you. There is everything in these dishes to heal you. And I think that's really the message for all of you guys who work alongside the Stroke Association and you've had experience of how important it is. Your next mouthful of food has the ability to harm or heal you. Your next thought has the ability to harm or heal you. And your next step has the ability to harm or heal you. So when you're promoting healthy lifestyles to people, I think it's really important. If anyone ever says to you, how long will it take for me to feel the effects of changing the way I eat, changing the way I season my food? You can hand on heart say immediately. The next mouthful you take will absolutely do you the world of good. Now on that note, I think I just need to try a bit of a pear. I mean, yes, I'll try that, but I'm a real sweet tooth, so I want to try some of this. Oh, hang on, I need a fork. I'm trying to be elegant here. Okay, let me give it a go. Oh my God. It's really nice. Oh, it's gorgeous. You'll love it. So there we go. That's your lovely dishes. I hope you enjoy them and keep doing the brilliant work that you're doing and keep seasoning with sense. If you've got any questions, now would be a good time to ask them.
Thank you, Sally. I love the fact you went to the dessert first. That is absolutely the way to eat lunch, isn't it? Thank you so much. We have had lots of questions actually coming through, which is really, really nice. So one of them is it worth using reduced fat creams, do you think?
Is there such thing as reduced fat cream? I don't know. Is there such thing as reduced fat cream? I mean, yeah, you can buy things like the Elm Lee, I think, but again, I would stick with the natural and know that the amount you're using is appropriate. The problem, I think, with anything that's, in my words, being messed with, is that you're never quite sure where you are with it. This meal here, I know exactly where I am with this. I know the rice is natural, I know the chicken, I know the vegetable, I know that's just sour cream with a few chives in it, and I know that's homemade guacamole. So I know exactly where I am with that. I know how much I'm eating and I know how much is appropriate to eat. Whereas if I was buying something that was low fat, and I'm not talking about yogurt, of course, plain yogurt you can buy low fat, I think I would be a little confused about how much I could eat. So personally, I prefer to go for definitely the low-fat yogurt, but cream, I would just go for a natural cream or miss the cream out altogether. You can get a low-fat creme fraiche that hasn't got anything else added to it. I think the answer is, as long as it hasn't got anything else added to it, it's okay. But apart from that, I would just stick with the most natural, but go for a small portion and always balance it.
Thank you. Fantastic. We've had quite a bit of conversation in the chat bar about soya sauce and Worcestershire sauce. Sorry, I can't say that. And sort of which is better to use. So I know that Caroline's also had a few comments in the chat bar around sort of which one would be better to use. But in your opinion, Sally, I might come to Caroline after as well. What's your thought around soy sauce and Worcestershire sauce?
So soy sauce is a fermented item, and it's basically healthy, but it is high in salt. So if you're really watching your salt content, then both of those are quite high. The Worcester sauce has lots of salt in it and anchovy flavouring in it, which is a very salty fish. So I would say use both really sparingly. You can buy a low salt soy sauce, but just use them sparingly. Again, I look at, because I have to be careful of absolutely everything I eat, I need to be as healthy as possible, yet life still goes on. So it's finding a way of balancing it. Therefore, if I'm having a Chinese homemade and I want a bit of soy sauce, I'll have a little bit of reduced salt soy sauce on it. I just won't have loads, and I won't have it 3 times a week. And I will balance it the next day by bringing down my salt content. So I think being aware is really the key. And then you make your decisions on a meal by meal basis. But they're both high in salt, but okay in very small amounts.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Caroline, is there anything you'd like to add to that? Because I know you put a little bit of detail in terms of the actual salt content of those two sauces. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I agree with everything Sally says. In particular, it's really important not to starve yourself of what you really want, because we all need to enjoy our life. But when we're making any food choices and you're wondering which one shall I go for, always look at the back of the pack on the nutritional table and look at the salt content. Now, do go for salt per 100 mils or 100 grams rather than per portion, because all the portions are different sized. And then you can make your choice based on that. So as Sally said, yes, there are low in sodium soy sauces available. So that's a better option to have in your cupboard as a stock item than, say, a regular soy sauce.
Great. Thank you both. Really, really helpful tips. And we have had a question about your recipes from Catherine. So she's keen to know where she can get all these recipes you've cooked today, because they look really amazing. So we will send them out. But is there anything more you want to say around your recipes, Sally, and where people can also access other things that you've done around your cooking?
Well, the best place to go and look is on the low salt website, and I know you have some on the Stroke Association website, but low salt, every single recipe that you see on there is with health in mind and taste at an equal level. I had one of my followers, one of my ladies, write to me recently, and she went, oh, she's got a heart problem. She went, I've just been diagnosed with a kidney problem as well, and I've got to really watch my salt intake, and what can you do? And I just sent her straight to the low salt website. And she messaged me later and said, oh my goodness, if only I'd have visited this earlier. There's so many recipes on there. And it's true, there are. So I kind of think you want to look through recipes on a website and go, oh, that looks nice, and oh, I fancy that. You don't want to have to go through and go, but is that one healthy for me? You will be sure that everything on that low salt website, many of the recipes are mine and many are other people's too, everything is already checked out for you. So that's a really great place to go and have a look.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We've had another question. Is there a healthy cheese option?
Okay, so cheese is cheese. Some are more salty than others. Things like feta cheese, you can get a lower fat feta cheese, but it's still very salty. Cheese is something that I personally, again, would buy a strong, mature cheese so that you need only a little bit. So for instance, with the dish that I've done here with the chicken, if you wanted to have a little bit of grated cheese over that, you could go for a really extra strong, mature cheese and just grate a tiny little bit over it. That gives you the flavour without overloading on the fat content and the salt content. I know there are low-fat cheeses, but I'm not convinced about them, the taste of them. And food has to be enjoyed. Everything is about balance. You have to look at your whole approach to food. Make sure that you're always, every meal, you're seasoning with sense. If you're having a treat, enjoy it guilt-free, but make sure you're not just eating, a tired old, soggy old muffin from a petrol station. If you're having a treat, make it really special and really nice, because you will enjoy this so much more when it's doing your body good as well as treating your taste buds.
Really, really good tip. Thank you. Really good. We've had a comment from Michael. He says, many thanks to Sally for all her hard work. Really yummy recipe. Look forward to the next one, if there is one. So yeah, this has been enjoyed a lot, Sally, by people. So thank you so much. We've had, I think, is there any more questions? I think that was it on the we had a question, because you're talking about Mexican food. Yes. And the refried beans, so does that hold a lot of salt? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know off the top of my head, but look at, because we buy, my daughter and I love refried beans, and we do buy them in the can already done, and we must have at some point looked at the back and seen it must be low in salt content, otherwise we wouldn't have bought them. But always, as Caroline said, always look on the back of anything that you buy like that. They all have a traffic light system. They should have a traffic light system. I'm looking for something. I haven't got anything processed to show you. But no, you should be fine on the refried beans. Always read the nutritional information on the back, not the marketing information on the front, because the marketing information on the front might say low fat, but then when you read around the back, it might be like red traffic light for salt. So, I mean, fine, have a little glance at the marketing information, but look at the nutritional information on the back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed this session, and I know by sending it out as a recording to lots of other group leaders and volunteers, and they can share with their members, I really hope the reach is going to be really big. So thank you so much, Sally, for all of your tips. We've all really enjoyed it. Thank you. I think we'll go back to the presentation and just wrap up in terms of next steps. So thank you. So as we said at the beginning, we do have wonderful prizes to share with groups who are either cooking or are talking about salt and salt awareness and healthy eating in your groups. So what we would really love to do and to promote is for you to think about how you could do this in your group, and then send us either pictures or stories of what you've done, and we would love to hear that, and we will definitely get out the prizes. So the prizes again are a really nice salt pig, which is a ceramic container for salt, and we've got the Season with Sense apron, the wooden spoon, the tea towel, a really lovely eco bag, and all kindly donated by Carolyn at Low Salt. So please do get thinking about what you could be doing in your group around healthy eating and salt awareness with these resources that we've shared today. And on our intranet, we will have there's a space for the workshops, and that's where all of our digital downloads will be. So you'll be able to go onto that site and find them and download them and share them. We also have physical packs that we can get out to you as well, that you can take hard copies to your groups when you're face to face. So that would be really great to hear how those things go when you do take them to your groups. Any problem getting onto the intranet, just let us know, and we can help you with that. We really hope you've enjoyed the last 2 days. We certainly have. We're really excited about what more we can do like this for you as group volunteers. So please let us know. This is your network. This is about what you do. So we're going to send round an evaluation form, like a questionnaire. Shouldn't take too long to do online. Should only take about 5 minutes. And we really want to know how to make these better and better as we go along, but also how you found the last 2 days. It also really helps us to demonstrate to our funders how useful they are to you. So hearing from you is really important. So I think we're probably at the end of the session. Thank you so much for everyone joining today, and we will share everything, and I hope you have a good rest of the day in the sun. Thank you.